Subscribe to HopeX and don't forget to press bell icon.
In the Sikkim-Bhutan sector, which is where we are in the current standoff, the Chinese face substantial problems because we are standing on high ground.
India has an advantage.
So, in other words, the casualties would be roughly about 33,000 on the other side.
Okay.
So, in other words, the Chinese would take a backseat in the conventional level. So, subconventional factor is the one which we need to worry more
Which
about.
we need to worry about. Brigadier Mishra.
Conventional warfare, revaiti ladai. Now, conventional warfare, how will it go? Their tactics in 1962 was hold on the front, have the waves, outflank and cut off. These were the tactics.
These were the tactics.
And we were not prepared for that. Why we were not prepared? Let me tell you very frankly, because every soldier knew Hindi Chini bhai bhai is there. That atmosphere was there. But today, we are exactly prepared for that. Even the holding on front, even the flanks, even the rear, even the reinforcement, even the guns, even the rockets, and even the bullets, these are ready. So I don't think, Vietnam is a very small country. He was saying, but he said that Vietnam is, but even there, these men, these chaps, they got bloody nose.
Okay.
You see, today, China has become a big bully. The kind of problem they have, around them, which they have created themselves, and mostly territorial, be it on land or be at sea, and probably air also might come in somewhere. So, this approach of theirs, probably maybe their 18th party Congress is there, and Communist Party, always thinks that our leader should be a strong man. And what can be better demonstration of strength than doing all this? So for Xi Jinping, probably this also is a motivation that let me be a very strong man. Nobody has done that nobody has come up to Chumbi Valley. And probably this man, he'll put his field artillery gun just on the road where where your cart is going to northeast. So all these combined, probably the philosophy of Mao Zedong, power comes out of the barrel of the gun. They are following that. And arm twisting, bullying, and browbeating, these are tactics. Now, if the balloon goes up, if the chips are down, you see what will happen. If the war escalates, I mean, the threshold of all-out war and where the nuclear weapons can be used, it's very high.
No, that's it. That's taking it too far. But
because there the losses are assured mutual, assured mutual. So therefore, no nation can afford. Right.
So that's one aspect of it. But you spoke about the Sino-Pak, factor out here, and that was Brigadier Mishra was talking about the conventional warfare and the push comes to shove. If we look at it from a different perspective, that's the Sino-Pak perspective and how it might affect our security interest as far as the state of Jammu and Kashmir is concerned, our northeastern states are concerned, because we share a almost 3,500 kilometer long border with China. So how is it going to impact the entire security situation in those borderline areas?
I think it's a very, very important issue that we should focus on very sharply. Let us recognize the fact that Chinese troops are already in the state of Jammu and Kashmir on the Pakistan side. That the CPEC is in fact a Chinese project and within the territory of Pakistan. Let us also recognize that Pakistan is virtually under the influence, at least on foreign policy and military matters, of China, and has been increasingly from February 1963, when Zulfikar Ali Bhutto first became the foreign minister of Pakistan and took this line. It has been a strategic outreach, and it has been a consistent way forward for both the countries. I believe that we need to take on board what is happening. Also expect from China the Chanakyan strategies, Dam, Dand, Bhed, all of that. They are doing that.
Using all the means.
And I believe that we need to hold firm. We need to, because their entire strategies for the moment, their immediate strategy is you must withdraw from Doklam. Now, the issue is much larger. When they say that you have gone in to a third country's territory, we have to point out you are already in in our territory, because Jammu and Kashmir is entirely our territory. And if Chinese troops are in Pakistan-controlled areas, and they already control part of the territory of Jammu and Kashmir, let us point out these things.
Okay, let me bring in Mr. Kondapalli here. I'll come to you, Brigadier Mishra, quickly. One important point, you spoke about PSYOPs and how, these statements are being made by, several think tanks through their, media, state-owned medias and all that. There were several countermeasures which were taken by the Indian government as well. For example, allowing the Tibetan government in exile to go ahead and use the Pangong Lake in Ladakh, which resulted in a retort from China, wherein they said, don't play the Dalai Lama card, don't play the Tibet card, and they responded again by blocking the Mansarovar Yatra and all that. So, do you see this also going a little forward, one step ahead, these kind of measures and countermeasures taking place?
Well, I'll comment on certain military points, and then I'll come back to.
Okay, we are really short of time, Brigadier Mishra, if you can make it quick.
Okay. Now, first I want to tell you that Chinese threat saying that, look, they will come to Kashmir as we are going to Bhutan. Now, what is left? Now, they are in Gilgit, they are in Baltistan, their cantonment has come up. 19,000 troops are deployed on OBOR here. Right from Xinjiang to Gwadar, and these are Pakistani troops, and Chinese will never trust Pakistani troops, and they would not like these chaps to guard their roads. So 19,000 troops are required for that purpose. Then if they come to Kotli, Mirpur, Muzaffarabad, what do they achieve? Because that is an area where they can't expand their weapon system, neither they can deploy. So that is all, I think, talking just in psychological warfare, that, parameter. That's one. Secondly, now this, they are saying that Kailash Mansarovar, they could go by Lipu Lake. I have been through, to Kailash Mansarovar, through that Lipu Lake. They say because there's no quarrel. Now here there's a quarrel. So it is all semantics. It is all semantics. And it is war of nerves. It is war of nerves. And I think today our leadership luckily is standing up to that.
So we need to hold our nerves. Clearly it seems so. So as our panelists were also pointing out, it seems that the Doklam standoff has added to the growing list of strains in the India-China relationship, which has always been a mix of cooperation and competition. On the issue of border disputes, both sides have done well so far, with not a single bullet being fired since 1975. Very plain question which is being asked right now is, this is not the first time that the Chinese troops have done that. This kind of standoff has happened earlier also. But in this middle sector, which is known as the entire Sikkim border, around 20-22 kilometers, this is very rare. And as far as Doklam is concerned, there is a history to it, and China has been repeatedly staking claim over Bhutan. Definitely, India needs to go ahead and defend its, ally Bhutan. But then, was it expected that this will continue for so long?
My take is that we should take a look at the big picture. This is not something that has come out of the blue. Of course, the intrusion, or whatever you might call it, in Sikkim is new. It's for the first time, as you pointed out. But the pattern of intrusions I trace to 2008, from right after the Beijing Olympics. In Ladakh and other places, the Chinese troops have been repeatedly ingressing. Also, remember, in 2009, for several months, the Chinese refused to give visas on Indian passports for citizens from Jammu and Kashmir, including the then Commander-in-Chief of the Northern Command. Now, I would take this back to 2008, when three factors started emerging, which I think are converging now.
Okay.
One is Pakistan's renewed animosity against India, which was demonstrated in the Mumbai attacks. Second was the street rage that was demonstrated in Kashmir, within the valley.
Okay.
And third is China's attitude that it wants to stop India's growth and progress, or stymie it while it still can.
How
in
do you
the
connect
long term.
the earlier twos with the third one you're pointing out?
I believe there is a connection, even last year.
Okay.
That moment when the CPEC, I've been talking for some time now, a couple of years at least, about a Sino-Pak axis. we should not be looking at Kashmir and the challenges to national security only through the prism of Kashmir. I think that is a mistake. It is a Sino-Pak axis. It was even in 99. Please remember where General Musharraf was when the Kargil intrusions were discovered. He was sitting in Peking and he stayed there for a while. Now, I would take this back to because of the Sino-Pak axis, I would take this back to 1965. We should look at what is happening in Doklam in the perspective of what happened in 1965, and I'm specifically referring to the Kutch intrusions and the Kutch skirmishes, which preceded what happened in Jammu and Kashmir.
Okay, so you're saying that this is a Sino-Pak alignment which India should be wary of, and this is not an isolated incident.
I think it should have been wary of for the last 7 or 8 years. It's more than that now.
It's more than that now. Let me bring in Brigadier Mishra here. Brigadier, if you look at the entire scenario and what Mr. David is pointing out, if this was in the offing, then could there have been some preventive measure? Because the border dispute with China is an ongoing thing. It is something which has been going on for years now, and we've not been able to come to a concrete conclusion, specifically with respect to the northern and the eastern sector.
Well, when we talk of Indo-Chinese standoff and all that, it takes me back to 1962. I was a company commander, and I fought in that war. I had the honor of defending my country. Whatsoever might have been the tactical and war front reverses, and those were not attributable to the army actions because we were not prepared. So I recall that 20th October to 20th November 1962, I was a company commander. But today I'm happy. I'm very happy. Actually, what you said that we should have taken precaution or we should have foreseen it or anticipated it. You see, even today, leave alone Panchsheel and all those things, even today, nowhere India is an aggressor. Nowhere.
Nowhere.
And even line of actual control, I have been battalion commander in Punch. I was on the line of actual control. I commanded my battalion 1978 to 81. And of course, I dominated the area. I had 9 posts which were dominated by Pakistanis. But I maintained my discipline of my forces, and we did not. But when they did anything, we retaliated, and many times over. Here, since India's policy that and China's most unpredictable, the Xi Jinping comes, he goes and he sits at Mahatma Gandhi's, Samadhi. Mr. Modi, he makes him sit down on that
on the swing.
Chabutra, on that platform, and he sits there. But then what is happening there? His troops have moved.
At the same time,
most unpredictable. But this time, even then, a brigade was moved in that sector. Even this time, the troops have been beefed up. And you must have seen our company commander, a Sikh boy, captain, telling that, the other side chap that, look, you are very senior, but what you are doing is wrong. And then the psychological warfare of China, which is going on, psychological warfare, it has come down to actually pushing, pulling, and making statement and global times and all that. It is a bigger part of the psychological warfare.
Okay.
But our troops, I'm very glad they are not doing. And let me tell you, even if the balloon goes up, today the war front will be different than 1962.
Okay, it'll be different from 1962. Now that's a taking it a bit too far. But let me take the issue to a new aspect, and that aspect is that it is being said that one of the key objectives China has in mind this time around was to test India's resolve to defend its ally Bhutan's borders and its security perspective and defense perspectives. Now this is not the first time that this is happening. If you look at the entire South Asian region theater, then China has been also meddling into Nepal's domestic politics. The CPEC you pointed out, Sri Lanka being drowned in debt over the Chinese investments, and
Pakistan too.
then Pakistan too, and then China also wanting to go ahead and fund the Bangladeshi ports as well. So is this the larger picture is more of concern to India than that plateau out there? Its strategic significance obviously holds a lot of value, but the larger picture seems to be more difficult.
I completely agree with you. I think that encirclement, which has been in process for a while, and we saw it move ahead on the eve of the BRICS summit with President Xi's visit to Dhaka. These are things that we should take very seriously. That there is an emerging strategy which has been emerging, to my mind, for the last decade or so. As I said, after the Beijing Olympics, I think they got down to this sort of hard-knuckled approaches. And I believe that too much time has been spent looking at things through the prism of Panchsheel and goodwill, and we are never the aggressors, so why should we bother with somebody else's? Because obviously they would not be aggressors either. But there is a definite strategy. To my mind, it's a very long-term strategy.
Okay.
China sees that India and China would dominate the 21st century, as many others do. Many Western analysts have said so too. And they see this as an opportunity, or they're looking for opportunity perhaps, to stymie India's progress and its ability to at least be a regional power within South Asia.
Okay.
And to my mind, this is a very important consideration and objective for our own national foreign policy.
So to protect our interests, we will have to take that into consideration.